What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Bubba here, and it's Monday, so we can talk about some trading opportunities. Hope you're enjoying the class. I think it's really important that you all understand and learn what we're doing and what we're trying to do. But at the end of the day, I want to teach you some different types of trades as well. And this week I thought we'd have some fun and work on a couple of earnings trades, or on an earnings trade in general. And when you're doing earnings trades, we really don't care of what the chart looks like. Now, if we look at this chart, we're looking at Baidu, BIDU, Bravo, India, Delta, Uniform. But, we can see that basically based on what we've learned in class, Baidu is in a consolidation mode within an uptrend. And, normally if we were just trading based on with the chart, we'd probably be looking for a spot to buy it, or maybe a spot to sell it within the congestion. We'd look to buy around 210, look to sell about 230. But earnings trades are a little bit different. Earnings trades, we don't know what the earnings are going to be. So what we have to look for is we have to find and devise an option strategy that will help us better learn and better capitalize on what can possibly happen. So if we go to the options chain, and so we're looking at the chain now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the weekly options, which expire this week. And there's many different variations that we can see through the model. There's many different variations of the earnings trade. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to email Mr. Navikas the different types of earnings trades we make. But the first thing we look at when we're looking at earnings is if you've learned on volatility or implied volatility. So as we look here, we can see that Baidu in the following week, just coming up here, is trading at about a 62% volatility. And if we look at November, we can see that it's only trading at about a 41% in volatility. So right there, that should be an indication that something is happening and there's going to be some sort of announcement regarding Baidu, and it's going to be in the near future. How do we know? Well, if we look out 5 days to expiration, we have a 62% volatility. If we look out 12 days, we see it drops to 49. And of course, if we drop out 19 days, we will see it drop back into the 40s. And of course, there it is back in the 40s. So we can pinpoint what's happening right now there's an announcement this week. And of course, in this case, it is earnings, but it could be, if it was a drug stock, it's drug stock, it could be an FDA approval. Excuse me. There could be many reasons why. But when you see expanding volatility in a certain time period, we can generally tell that it's going to be an announcement, and generally that announcement will be on earnings. And because nobody really knows what the earnings are going to be, volatility, or the air in the balloon, pumps up going into the week of the announcement. So what do we know? We know that earnings are on Baidu, and they're on the 10/29, which is October 29th, after the market close. So that will be Wednesday after the market close. So we've got 3 days to look at this trade and put it on. Now I'm going to show you the trade we would put on as of right now, because we don't have it. But typically, when we're doing an earnings trade, we are going to do this at the last possible minute. The way I like to compare it, if they're going to hang you and you're going to that noose, right before they pull the lever, then they offer you your last cigarette before they hang you, that's when you want to put this trade on. Because the idea of this trade is to capitalize on the most amount of volatility that you're trying to collect. We are trying to collect the excess air that they are pumping in to this stock. So what do we look at? Well, we can see the stock is trading at 222.50. Okay, so if we look at this, we can see that that's the at the money straddle. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what we call here a straddle strangle swap. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our buy, and we're going to go down to the double diagonal, and you see it says straddle, strangle, swap. Here is the straddle, strangle, swap, and it comes up with a default. And what it shows us here is we're selling the straddle in this week, and we're buying a straddle in next week. Now, what we want to account for here is we want to account for the movement, okay? So we know that in Baidu, we have an expected move of plus or minus 15 points, okay? 1434, as we can see here, plus or minus. So what we want to do is we want to encompass that movement. So if the stock is trading at 222.50, we want to buy our calls out at about 237.50, and we want to buy our puts down below at about 207.50, and that will give us the expected range. And for making this trade, we are going to collect an $8.52 credit. Now, the credit that we are collecting, okay, is money that we get to potentially keep. Okay, so what we're looking for in this trade is we want the trade to stay within the expected movement. Now, the ideal position would be the earnings would come out and the stock would do nothing, and then we get to keep this $8.52, which would be $852. And then we get to own next week's options, the 237.50 call and the 207.50 put. We own those for free. Now, our break even on this trade, if the stock moves $8 either way, we don't lose any money, and we still get to play next week's options. So what we're going to look for here is we're going to go ahead and make this trade, because what we've done is we sold the market in the near term, but we're going to buy the market in the long term. And this is what they call a straddle, strangle, swap. Now, we're going to work on each week now that we're in earnings season. We are going to work on more variations of this trade, but I want you to watch and observe how this trade works and see. Now, the best result is that we come back and stay at 222.50. The next best result is that we stay within the $8 on either side. So $16, 8 up or 8 down, a $16 range. If we go out of that range, we will then see a potential spot that we could start losing money. Now, the one ace in the hole that we own here is we still own next week's options. So even if we go out of the expected range, we still have something to play with, still with our risk. Now, the overall risk on this trade, because we've gone $15 away on each side, it's $15 minus the $8.50. So our maximum risk on this trade is $6.50. But again, we do have the extra week with our long options, so we can play. And the objective here, the best thing to do is if we can stay within the $8, whatever range we stay, if we go between 230 and 214, we still make money and we still own the extra options for next week. I know this might be a little bit confusing, but we're going to send out rules and you'll see how all these work. I hope everybody's enjoying the class. I hope you're enjoying my Monday little talks here. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next Monday. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much.